I woke up today and I saw this new controversy with John Kerry. And what is the controversy? Well, here's a quote from the New York Times. Former Secretary of State John Kerry informed him being an Iranian, that Israel had attacked Iranian interests in Syria at least 200 times to his astonishment, Mr. Zarif said. Okay, so what happened? JFK got with an Iranian, Mr. Zarif, big high-ranking Iranian dude, doesn't matter who he is, and divulged information about one of, if not our biggest ally in the world. And everybody today is outraged, right? And I'll play you some of the outrage in a second. Everyone's freaking out. Why? How can he do that? That's treason. Oh, this is crazy. It doesn't make any sense. No, it doesn't make any sense to you because you haven't accepted reality. A hard reality to accept, I admit, but you haven't accepted reality. But you and I, we have an obligation to live here in the real world, not the world we want to exist. Not the world that used to exist. We have an obligation to exist in this one. Otherwise, we have no idea how to proceed. If we don't know where we are, we don't know where we have to go. And here's the world in which we exist now. Democrats are constantly caught siding with America's enemies and against our friends because Democrats feel the same way about America that our enemies do. Why are we so buddy-buddy with China all the time? We Democrats feel the same way about America that China does. Why are we buddies with Iran all the time and screwing over Israel? We feel the same way about America that Iran does. It's not more complicated than that. Our Democratic Party, in fact, our entire system now, our athletes, actors, entertainers, our teachers, our churches, working its way through the military, the entire system now, it's all run by people who think this country kind of sucks and deserves to be brought down a peg or two. You do realize that high-ranking officials in China are constantly going on television repeating Democrat talking points about America. Think about that. Our number one enemy on the world stage. Where do they go to find out how to really get at us and tell everybody how much America sucks? They go to the Democrat Party for all the ammo they need. And that's why we're in trouble. And it's not a mystery of how we got here. We have an entirely un-American education system for K through 12, and then even our elite universities, especially our elite universities, are flat out anti-American. We send our young people off to schools for 7, 8 hours a day where they learn to hate their own country. And now they're adults. They're not just in their 20s anymore. They're in their 40s, 50s, corporate boardrooms, CEOs, senators, professors. They're out there leading all the cultural institutions, and they hate this place. Why are Democrats constantly being caught doing things like this? Because the modern-day Democratic Party is anti-American. They hate us. The JFK Party is gone. And that's very, very hard for people like you and I to accept because, I'll be honest with you, you hear me trash the GOP all the time for being weak and pathetic, and of course they are. I would love the option to vote for a Democrat. I don't need to agree with everybody on every issue. I'm not that way. I'd love the option to vote for JFK. I don't have the option to vote for a Democrat now because I won't vote for somebody who thinks my country sucks. I will not. GOP, of course, had a response.
If this is true, I certainly hope other members of this body, Democrats and Republicans, will join me in calling for the resignation of John Kerry. Enough is enough. The red line that was crossed, if this is true, revealing secret information to one of America's most sworn enemies with the blood of thousands of American military members on its hands, undermining the interests of one of our most important allies, the State of Israel. If this is true, John Kerry needs to go. He should resign, or he should get fired by the President of the United States.
He won't. He won't. Former CIA Director and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo had this to say: Secretary Kerry, can you please explain to the American people why you disclosed information about Israeli operations to Iranian FM Zarif? We've known for years you were helping him. Americans deserve to know why. John Kerry obviously knows this doesn't look great, came out, had this to say: I can tell you that this story and these allegations are unequivocally false. This never happened, either when I was Secretary of State or since. Well, I mean, obviously, if somebody within your own administration comes out and we have these revelations about how anti-American he is, surely the President of the United States is about ready to give him the axe, right? Well, here's what the White House had to say.
Does the president have any comment or reaction to Kerry telling the Iranians about covert military action on the part of Israel?
We're not going to comment on leaked tapes.
Not going to comment on leaked tapes. And remember, this wasn't some right-wing outlet. This is, oh yeah, that says the New York Times right there. This was the New York Times who said this. Hey, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked what you saw, go ahead and like and subscribe. You heard me. Like it, subscribe. You'll get a lot more of it and a lot more of me. Thanks.